The video topic is, when you masturbate, you go against billions of years of animal evolution. Alright? So, we're going to be talking about something that's very important, okay? I want you to understand, right? You are not who you think you are. Understand and overstand that. Okay, me and you are divine incarnating spirits. Okay? So, there's two different types of DNA, right? That is within us, okay? We have animal DNA that tells us to ejaculate or come or bust a nut, right? Then we have DNA that tells us don't do it. Okay, that part of our DNA that tells us don't spill your sexual energy, don't spill your life force, that DNA is ancient, okay? That is the extraterrestrial DNA, okay? Melanated people, we are descendants of the Anunnaki, extraterrestrial beings who spliced their godlike DNA and mixed it with certain genetic species that fit this realm, okay? So you gotta understand, we are solar beings, okay? So we're gonna name a couple creatures that cannot survive without the sun. They need the sun to regulate their temperature, kind of like me and you. So snakes, lizards, okay, frogs. Just a couple, three. So our genetics is infused with those particular animals, okay? Now you may have certain other animals in your DNA, but I'm talking about, for the most part, melanated people, we are part reptilian. Okay, look. Spitting cobra. Webbed fingers. You know how you see frogs with webs? They got like webs, webbed frogs and shit. And if you look closely, right, you see I got like scales, okay? So for the most part, those are just three animals that melanated people have inside of our DNA. Okay, so those three animals I named, right? These are creatures that need the sunlight. Okay, they are cold-blooded animals, okay? Real shit. So we have that portion of animal DNA inside of us, which tells us to reproduce, come, ejaculate. But then we have that godlike DNA that tells us to keep it in. So listen, when you masturbate, right, you go against billion years of animal evolution. Because believe it or not, right, melanated people, our evolutionary stages are limitless. Like, our evolution is limitless. You gotta understand, we are not this. We fell to these low-level forms because we got our ass kicked in battle. So there is two parts of your DNA: the animal side of you and the side of you. We have the same DNA as these animals you see on this planet: the tigers, the wolves, the sheeps, the gazelles, the giraffes, the lions, cheetahs. Okay, we have those particular DNA strands that give us those animal-like instincts to eat, survive, hunt, and ejaculate. Okay, we have those genetics in our DNA. We have animal DNA. Okay, so when you stop masturbating, right, you are channeling divine energy. You're channeling divine energy. Okay, so with this divine energy, right, you have to understand it is called your life force. So it's kind of like the essence of who you are. Your life force is something that uplifts and builds your spirit and soul up. Okay, so your life force is very important. That DNA that we have, that ancient DNA that has been within us for billions of years, is the godlike evolutionary DNA. Okay, you gotta understand. Melanated people, we come from the stars. We are the quote-unquote fallen angels. Now, there's two types of fallen angels. There's the incubus, succubus, all these demonic things, certain reptilian, alpha draconian races, and then you got the angelic beings who come from descendants of the Anunnaki. Okay, so there's two types, good and bad. I would be considered a good one. Okay, I am a descendant of the space travelers, the Anunnaki. Okay, so for the most part, I am an angel. The Bible talks about the 144,000 Christ-like beings to return to save humanity in the end times. I am one of them for certain. So this extraterrestrial DNA that we have inside of our melanin, right? This is the DNA that tells you not to ejaculate. It tells you to hold it in. Something in you is like, nah, don't do it. Don't beat your meat. Just hold it in. That shit is ancient. That is the genetic coding of the descendants of the Anunnaki that have been bestowed upon us. Okay, that's the angelic DNA that we have. So when you start to channel this divine energy by practicing semen retention or going celibacy, that godlike DNA that's within you and those animal genetics that have been untapped, because believe it or not, we're in the age of Aquarius now. I'm starting to look at my hands, it's starting to look more scaly than usual. I look on my arms and shit, it's starting to look very scale-like I'm shifting into a lizard almost. You get what I'm saying? Because that's what's happening. Now, every melanated person, depending on their bloodline, has multiple different types of animal DNA. It's not just 100% reptile-based. Now, we are reptile-based beings because we used to have the ability to breathe underwater. That's what Aquaman was about. Also, you notice the Anunnaki are very intelligent beings. Like, these beings are super powerful, and we are the children of them, so we have their capabilities, okay? Maybe even more. They wanted us to be more powerful than them, but they didn't want us to look like them or have the same DNA, so they spliced their DNA, and they wanted to get certain animals to give us these certain traits. Like I just said, let me show you again. Spitting cobra. Web fingers. A lot of people think this is not web fingers. Yes, it is, nigga. Have you noticed when you be in the water, right? If you sit in the water for a long period of time, you notice your fingers start to get wrinkly. Like, if you ever was little and you sat in the water for a long time, it's like your feet and your hands and everything around you start to look like it'll shrivel up. Like, you get like lines and shit start to look wrinkly, right? You gotta understand, cause you used to be a water-breathing deity. Not only were you a solar deity, you get energy from the sun, but you used to survive underwater. You gotta understand, we're going back to those times. Atlantis, Lemuria. Some of us were the ancient Atlanteans who had the ability to breathe underwater. You know, Atlantis is real. It's here right now. Me and you are some of the Atlanteans who have came back, very powerful deities. So we are literally everything in the universe. That's why when you be in the water as a child, if you, right now, you could sit in the water for about 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever the fuck, being in the pool. After a certain period of time, your hands is gonna get certain type of like little slight, your hands will start to like shrivel up. You have like lines and shit in it. That is designed to make you have more grip underwater. So at this time, look, I know it sounds crazy because we these forms, this is not us. We got our ass beat up and we lost our abilities and we fell to these carbon forms. This is nowhere near who we are. Okay? Bruh, that's why your hands right now, if you sit in the water, take a bath for like 4 hours, cuz, just sit in that shit and look at your hands after a while. You're gonna notice it have like, it's gonna shrivel up, it's gonna kind of get tight, you're gonna see like lines and shit in it. That's because that is designed to help you have more grip in the water. We used to be underwater creatures, beings. Sea snakes, don't they live underwater? Certain frogs live in the water. Certain lizards swim underwater. So these beings knew what they were doing. Okay? They knew that they were solar beings. Okay? So they didn't want us to look like them, so they gave us certain animal DNA to have these type of characteristics because they wanted us to be more powerful. And we actually are. So understand, you have reptile-based DNA. But like I was saying though, we're in the age of Aquarius, so everything in your genetics, the godlike DNA that I was talking about, that DNA that tells you not to ejaculate, when you hold on to your life force energy, your being starts to shift. Everything about your being starts to shift because this divine energy, this godlike energy, which would be your sexual energy, is the essence It's the starting point of who you are, the origin. Okay? Your life force energy is you. How do you think you got here? Your life force energy holds memory, DNA, and information of all your ancient ancestors from literally billions of years ago. So this is why I was telling you, when you guys masturbate, right? You literally go against billion years of animal evolution. Like I said, our bloodline is unreal. You have no idea how many ancestors came before you. Probably millions. And it's all inside of your genetics. Every cell, animal, all that shit is in this carbon suit that you're walking with right now. So knowing that your sperm holds all the information of your ancient ancestors, what does that mean? If you were to harness this energy, right, and not spill it continuously, this divine creative energy will awaken the dormant DNA that you have, the DNA that's not untapped. Not to mention, you got animal DNA that's not active either, but you can clearly see that we have animal features. Am I wrong? Why do you think your lips is big? I'm telling you, you don't look the way you look because of fucking God or whatever. This was genetically engineered by powerful ass extraterrestrial beings who created us, and we are the children of them. So when you go on semen retention and you harness this energy, right, and you discipline yourself, you are evolving back to who you once were, because everyone and everything started from this, a drop of what? Sperm, semen. This is correct. That's how you got here. That's how your girlfriend got here, your mama, your daddy, your uncle, whoever the fuck. We all got here from that sperm, right? But society, oh yeah, you spilling that shit, right? So this suit, this carbon suit, has billion years of animal evolution, billion years of animal DNA just waiting to be unlocked and untapped. Some of you guys at this point is jumping extremely high. Some of you guys at this point has extremely great reflexes. You don't even know why. Because the godlike DNA and the animal DNA is getting revitalized. So your life force energy is supposed to flood throughout your whole entire body. And the more that you practice semen retention, it's going to force you to evolve to who you once were. So at this point in the game, depending on what you're doing with your energy, as time passes, like, you're going to start looking divine to people. You're going to start looking divine. You're going to instill fear, because you got to understand, people are afraid of the angelic beings for numerous round of reasons. It's not about sexual energy. Nah, man, that's just the energy you're supposed to harness anyway, because the energy is literally you. It's the essence of you. So everyone practicing semen retention is not going to get the same results. Everyone's energy is not going to do what yours does. So your essence, your being, and your genetics plays a role in your energy. So my energy is different from everyone else's energy. It could be somebody else on semen retention, but their DNA, their animal DNA, and the godlike DNA they may have is not going to affect others like that. So it all depends on your genetics. Some of us have, how can I say this? Some of us have the most evolutionary DNA, to the point where these secret societies, the government, they fear our limitless evolutionary potential. So it depends on your bloodline. It depends on the DNA that you have now, because everyone's DNA, even though all melanated people got some reptile-based DNA, but the bloodline plays a big part in that. You might come from an ancient bloodline. I know I come from an ancient bloodline, you feel me? So when you masturbate excessively, cause you are literally going against billion years of animal evolution that's waiting to be tapped inside of you. I hope you know that. Like, you gotta understand, if we got reptile-based DNA, right? That DNA is still within you. It will never get, like, it won't go nowhere, you know what I'm saying? But you won't be able to tap into that DNA that you have within you if you are spilling your energy. I'm telling you right now, cause I look at my hands My hands never in life look this scaly, cuz that's because we are evolving back to those godlike beings once again. So in a minute, right, as time passes, depending on what you're doing with your energy, the more you continue to work on yourself, better yourself, you're gonna start shifting right before people's eyes. Like, you're gonna start looking different. Your energy is gonna start to feel more divine because you were an angel the whole time. You get what I'm saying? So my advice to you is, stop spilling your energy, fam, especially the porn. Evolve. You came here to evolve. You're evolving anyway. It's deeper than just semen retention. You get what I'm saying? That's just the foundation. Everybody, everything, every animal came from a drop of semen. So I'm going to repeat it again. You got animal DNA inside of you. That's in your vessel. Correct? And then you got extraterrestrial DNA. That's not tapped. Remember, melanated people are only using 5% of their dormant DNA. Yeah, you see melanated people today doing the most craziest shit. Athletic as fuck, this, that, and the third. You see these NBA players doing the most craziest shit, and they only using 5%. Me and you, we're using more than 5 right now, cuz. We are using more than 5. If your DNA is activating, if you step into the sunlight, if you see crystalline all over your body, you're more than 5. Because when you came out the womb, you was only at 5. So if your DNA is activating, you're starting to notice your body just changed right before you. You might be getting bigger, you might be getting stronger. You might be getting faster, you might be getting more psychic. That's the dormant DNA that's being unlocked because the sun is forcing you to evolve. So that ancient DNA that tells you don't nut, that's the divine essence of the Anunnaki, which will be you, because you are children of these powerful beings. I'm on a path to evolution. I came here to evolve, and I am not going to do anything else but that. So yes, stop masturbating. You're going against billions of years of animal evolution. You gotta understand, there's so many animals that is inside your genetics waiting to be tapped into. Because when you shift into your light body, some of y'all might look like real deal plasma lizards. Like, it all depends on what the fuck is in your DNA. And that's only the beginning, by the way. When they say billions of years of evolution, I'm talking about billions of years. Like, all your ancestors, they're inside of this suit. The memory, the pain, every single cell organism about you, your ancestors, billions of them who came before you, it's all in you right now. Deep. And how did you get here? That goddamn sperm.